Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing Gears of War 3, and this is Raam's Shadow. This is chapter 1 of 6. It is entitled Evacuation. So, welcome to the walkthrough. This is the 10th anniversary of the channel. Back in 2012, I uploaded Raam's Shadow on Insane Difficulty, and it was the first walkthrough of this channel. Do you see these two grenades, by the way, before I get into this? There's two grenades over here. They start you off with 0. Then you want to run back here and pick up the long shot as well as some more Lancer ammunition. And then there's also 2 more grenades right over here. So the method that I'm going to show you for sealing the holes, hopefully you'll only need to use 2 of the 4 grenades. And I wouldn't use more than 2 if I were you. But they do start you off with 0. And this was the first walkthrough that I put on this channel. It was not the first walkthrough that I ever did, but it was the first one uploaded to this particular channel, and I thought I would come full circle, do a retrospective project for the channel, since it was the 10th anniversary, and I've always wanted to come back to this because I wasn't particularly proud of all of the strategies that I had for the original walkthrough, and I thought that I could make a lot more, a lot better strategies. And the other thing too is that these games recently were all given upgrades to 60 FPS, and I've always said, oh, did you see how the turret got destroyed there? The boomers and the reavers can do that with their projectiles, but once this second reaver is taken out, there's going to be a grub hole that spawns up and to the left, and you can use the mortar to seal it if you want to. You could also use grenades. I'm going to use grenades, but the thing is, if you use grenades from back here, from behind these sandbags, it's very difficult to seal the hole. For some reason, it just doesn't work very well. But if you come down here and throw it, you can seal it a lot easier, because you can actually kind of see more where the grenade's going to land. It's risky though, because you're closer to the enemies down there, but you do get that animation of the hole sealing. You'll see a bunch of dirt come up. That means that the hole has been sealed. And grenades are very important on this DLC because you're dealing with grub holes a lot. So conversely, the power weapons, the torque and the boom shot, you'll want to have those anytime you can too, because of their ability to seal holes. And I really love this walkthrough. I'm sorry, this DLC, because it gives me the chance on this walkthrough to do quick sealing methods of them. And I've always just really liked the grub holes for the ingenuity of them, and I thought it was a very creative way to spawn in enemies. And I've always liked how it works on this game as well. Not the DLC, but Gears of War 3, with the stocks and enemies spawning from those pods. But once these 2 reavers have been dealt with, then you're going to be then it's just a waiting game. Okay, so you'll have the second. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just see real quick, because this is the second hole that spawns. That's the second of the 2 holes. So you'll want to seal that quickly. Yeah, that was right. This is now a waiting game, because the second pair of reavers we use the mortar for. That's another reason I don't like to use the mortar to seal that first hole, because I like to save the mortar rounds for the reavers, because they take a lot of hits to kill them. But now it is actually a waiting game, because this is the third pair of reavers over here, and you don't have to do anything, because you're just waiting for the higher ups to start talking about this particular machine in here, which is going to give you access to the Hammer of Dawn. Now, there is a reaver outside that has a direct line of fire right over to you through the window of the tent, so you can get killed while you're on this thing. and it's not very fun or pretty because you're going to be really upset. So if you want, when you hop onto this machine, you want to take him out first, the one that could potentially kill you, or you could just kill him without jumping on the machine when you're not vulnerable. So I always like to just take the chance, because even though he can kill you, I don't get killed often to him, but I did definitely want to warn you that you can get killed to him. Now, why would I do that in the first place? Why would I risk everything since it's a long fight? Well, you just take chances in this game that you ordinarily wouldn't, especially on insane difficulty, because a lot of times you just get turned to chunks out of the clear blue sky, and it doesn't seem to matter too much because of that lack of consistency and some of the general unfairness that goes along with this game. But once you've killed everybody with the Hammer of Dawn, you're going to immediately get a checkpoint. And now you'll notice that we have 2 grenades. I've switched to holding the grenades at this point because this game, what it does when you die, it will save whatever you had in your hand once the game checkpointed. So once you do get a checkpoint, whatever you're holding, that's going to be what you respawn with, even if after you've loaded and died a few times, you've switched to other weapons. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that in this game. It works the best, I think, in Gears of War Judgment, where whatever you die with, that's what you spawn with, regardless of what you got to the checkpoint, an earlier checkpoint with, and we're holding. So, again, the reason I'm holding the grenade is because it's just because we're going to be using grenades over here. One, to loosen up some of these wretches, even though I don't think I hit any on this first try. The first throw of it. But there's 2 that you're holding, right? And then there's 2 more up here that you can get. So now your count should be 4. And as I said, I'm going to loosen up the wretches over here first, which just means I'm going to try to hit any that I can as I run up here. And then there's a hole that spawns up and to the right. And if you do this really quickly, and I mean, you have to be really quick. You can't even aim, seemingly. You have to just do it so fast that you have to just free throw it. Now, I have done it with aiming, so I'm not saying that it can't be done while you're aiming with the grenade, but it's a lot slower when you're aiming. So that hole, though, spawns a bunch of grubs, just hammer burst grubs, and there seems to be a lot of them, too. More than usual, I would say. So putting a stop to that spawn in the first place makes it a lot easier and more looking like you know what you're doing more. And okay, so we came over here with 2 because we had 4. We used 2 on that previous part, so now your count should be back up to 4. And then when you come back up to this part over here, or rather to this part, there's going to be wretches, a boomer, a grinder, and 2 snipers up here. If you don't hit them with headshots, it'll be 2 hits with the sniper rifle. But did you see what happened over here? Unfortunately, the wretches came up here. Since this checkpoint is so nice, though, they put you like right back over here where the cars were. I don't prioritize the wretches because I just take a chance that they won't come over and take notice of me. But here's the second one of these guys. These guys can, I think they instantly kill you with 1 shot. If you're in cover, though, I think it might be 2. But if you're outside of cover, I think you can get killed instantly. But I'm not, maybe they have leniency. But the thing is, you want to switch out your Lancer for the boom shot over here and try to get 3 to 4 rounds of the boom shot. And what I wanted to say, though, is that you can't control how many rounds you get from it, but if you get more rounds, it's obviously better, but it's not going to matter that greatly. So you can farm for boom shot rounds if you want to, but I did want to mention that coming up is going to be 3 boomers in 1 fight, so you'll definitely be able to get max out your grenade, your boom shot rounds. So this part is very difficult if you don't do grenade sealing like really quickly. There's one grub hole that spawns right there, a second one that spawns over here, and if you're in the fountain area in that circle in the middle, it's very difficult to seal that hole. So if you come out here, you have a much better way of seeing it. And then there's one hole that spawns back here, and then there's one last hole that spawns behind the sandbags here, and then you'll immediately get a checkpoint, and you'll be dealing with those aforementioned boomers, as well as I think two blood mounts. So if you get killed over here, which is very easy to have happen, it won't matter too much because you got that checkpoint. But yeah, that part is very difficult. And I come back here, and then I use the mortar. But if you quickly seal those holes, you just trivialize the fight, and I really like that. But I wanted to mention too, outside of the scope of the walkthrough, that and some technical details about this, because I had no idea that they upgraded these games to 60, and it's not as profound in this version because the ambition was a lot higher in this game, and what they did with more grand design, but as you know, with the graphics and things like that. But I'm fairly sure that it's 60. But if you play, and I'll talk about which games got the upgrade. It was all of them. It was Gears of War 1, Gears of War 2, and Judgment. Now, when you play those games, when you see it, you'll be probably blown away, as I was, because it's much more profound of a difference. And if you've only ever played them, as anyone could, at 30, and then seeing those older games at 60, you could definitely tell that it's without question 60 frames a second. But you can also play these games in 4K at 120 hertz if you have a monitor that's capable of using an HDMI 2.1 connection. I recently got a monitor that could accommodate that, and it's just incredible because then you can play at 4K 120 hertz. However, the thing is, the particular software that I have for the Elgato 4K 60 Pro, it's an internal capture card. If you use 120 hertz while using the software for that, it doesn't like it and it will crash. So I wasn't able to do that. So I've had to use the Windows DVR, which I like better. But anyway, there's one grenadier down here with a sawed-off shotgun. And if you've used 2 grenades on that previous part, there's 2 right over here in this corner. You want to pick those up. That will get you back up to 4. Okay, and then there's one more fight in this chapter, and it's a little difficult. Difficult why? Well, it's not that difficult if you keep doing the same thing repeatedly, like I'm going to show you. If you go in the same areas that I do, kill the enemies in the same order, it won't be difficult. And it is difficult, though, if you're moving around a lot, and depending on random variables to pop up that you then react to, I would not recommend doing it that way. So there's going to be 3 grub holes. Those are the random factors. There's one guy with a scorcher over here. I'm going to hit him with the long shot, destroy his cannon. And then there's going to be the wretches running around the room. If you don't make full contact with them, it takes 2 hits to kill them. So if you don't want to mess with those odds, and I wouldn't, just shoot them with your sidearm is a good idea. Now you want to switch to the boom shot or your frags. That's the first grub hole. The second one is right in there. Shoot through the more thin bars, and then the last one that spawns, the third and the last, is that one right there in the other cell. And if you do it in that order, they'll always spawn in the same way. That has been chapter 1 of 6. Again, welcome to the guide. I hope that it ushers you through the DLC a little more gracefully than my previous one did. And I will of course, see you in the next video, and until then, please take care.